Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast with your hosts, Sonia Babich, CEO of Iron Diamond Media, a leading wedding resource featuring 7 localized wedding brands across the country, and Dan Riggs, photography and videography expert and founder of Summit Hill Studios. Come along as they travel from state to state to connect with the most creative and well-respected professionals in the wedding industry. Every episode will arm you with the hottest new trends, wedding day tips and details, and they'll show you all the joys of planning your perfect wedding day.
Hi, I'm Jenna Cully, owner of Linen Effects Minneapolis. I bet I can guess the third thing you did after getting engaged. Number 1, you called family and friends to share the good news. Number 2, you started a Pinterest board. Number 3, you realized that you have no idea how to bring that Pinterest board to life. That's where we come in. Let the design experts at Linen Effects take your ideas and bring them into reality. We have everything, including floor-length linens, charger plates, table settings, centerpieces, candles, pretty chairs, lounge furniture sets, and more to make your event picture perfect. Go to our website at lineneffects.com to schedule your appointment today. That's lineneffects.com and see your Pinterest board come to life.
Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast. Today we're in Los Angeles, California with Laura Burnap, the editorial director of Iron Diamond Media.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Well, of course, I'm very familiar with Laura, so I'm excited for everybody to meet Laura. So, Laura, before I tell everybody about you, let's have you tell everybody about you.
Okay, well, I have been working in the editorial arena for probably 30 plus years. I actually started in book publishing in Boston.
I did not know this, Laura.
And I edited college textbooks, little known fact.
Fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know, see, I got to surprise you.
That was a big surprise.
So I did that for about a year. I did English anthologies and art anthologies, and clearly it was not really my thing. And I moved to Los Angeles, and I ended up working at E! Online, which was back in, it was really just starting its really big growth. Mm-hmm. And I held a lot of different positions there. I worked with the network, I did some work on camera, I did red carpet, and I started a blog that was called Hollywood Party Girl. And I had close to up to 22 million readers at one point. So
on your blog?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so I actually was one of the first kind of blogs, Perez Hilton likes to say that he was inspired by me. I knew him when he was first getting started. But yeah, I would go to red carpets, I would go to parties, and this was before everyone had a cell phone.
Laura has really good party stories, but we're not going to say
we're not going to go there. But it was before cell phones, so it was my whole the whole blog was kind of about a peek inside Hollywood, the insider's peek, and it would kind of be little tidbits and little slices of life, kind of from the party scene.
She literally has really good stories.
Yeah.
I do have some stories, and after I got really tired because that was a late night job, I did a lot of red carpets. I moved over to Los Angeles Confidential magazine, and I was the executive editor there for about 4 years, and I mostly did fashion and design coverage, a little bit of food, obviously some of our celebrity interviews. It was a very Hollywood industry driven magazine, so it was very much more celeb focused.
Yeah.
And I met the then editorial director for the Bride Group, and I don't know, it just felt like a really great thing to do, so I became the editor-in-chief of California Wedding Day.
Yeah.
And that was almost 14 years ago.
It's quite the journey.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So kind of went all over the place.
Yeah, so then, of course, Iron Diamond Media was founded, created, and the whole story with that. And then, of course, now Laura is editorial director. So she overlooks all 7 brands, all 7 magazines.
Got it. So what is a typical day for you like? Is it?
I would say I never really know what to expect, especially when we're heavy in production like we are now.
And Sonia being her boss.
And working for this one. No. It's a lot of, for example, today, where at the same time I'm sitting here doing this, I have a photo shoot happening for Nebraska Wedding Day. So I've been coordinating with the art director and the editor on site, making sure the dresses are picked up, if everybody's on point and what they're doing, and just kind of keeping everything flowing. Mm-hmm. And then I work really closely with Jessie, I'm a creative director. Mm-hmm. She's like my other half.
Which
producing the magazines.
She said too in her interview.
Well, you can't do without the best.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
We try.
Well, and they make magic. Like, it's just with them working together. They literally share. I even share an idea, and it always is produced better. Or Lara brings an idea, or Jesse brings an idea. It's always produced better than the first initial vision. So it's actually really fun to see it go from this to print.
It is really fun.
So
It
we
is.
have California Wedding Day. So what part did you do?
I did all of it.
All of it.
I did, yes. I touch every single page. So I put together the entire plan of what every single piece of edit that's going into it, what we're covering, what the direction of the story is. And then Jessie and I work together to make it happen. She makes all my ideas pretty.
She really does.
She really, really does. So, and we do that, I do that with all the magazines, just kind of honing the ideas, making sure all the editors have thought it out, that we really are hitting what we want to. We want to make sure that we're being trend forward while at the same time we still want to be approachable. I don't like for the magazines to be so over the top that someone can't pick it up and say, oh, I would love to have this, but I can't. I'd love for it to still be aspirational, that it's something that anyone can look at for ideas for their wedding. That's the goal of every page.
And even if you can't take every idea from that particular article, you can
course.
still take little bits and pieces, make it your own.
Yeah.
Which
Exactly.
every wedding is. They take little pieces here and there.
That's my favorite thing about weddings. I absolutely love personalization.
She
When they
does.
really come up with these like cool ways of making, these little details, whether it's an escort card, whether it's, the place cards on their menus, if it has, I don't know, we have a wedding in this issue where she was an equestrian and she was an accomplished writer, and they did this gorgeous equestrian inspired wedding, and it's just really stunning the way that they worked the details in without it being over the top, without it being so in your face. It's just really elegant and well thought out.
We actually mentioned about the gerbil wedding too with Jessie.
Oh my gosh, I still love that.
I know.
Quirky is fun too. It doesn't always have to be, elegant and polished. Like, I love when people just do these really quirky things.
And the thing what I love about Lara and Jessie working together is the flow of the issue. Things have to flow, but also when you turn the page, you have to be like, ooh, what's this? Because it can't just be the same old, same old.
It's going to be on every page. Ooh.
Jessie, I think we sometimes rearrange the magazine 5 or 6 times before we're happy with how it's flowing. Because you kind of, you have to see it all come together, and all of a sudden I'll be like, that story can't be next to that one. It has to go here. There's a lot that goes into it. It's just like planning a wedding.
It may not sound like a big deal, but it's a big deal.
No, I get it. I'm a videographer, so when I'm producing a wedding film, there are, I tell our couples that it's like we have a puzzle without the box to look at, right? We just have all these great pieces, and we got to kind of figure out.
We literally have a map and a puzzle before we all put it together. Like, it's no joke.
I always say that about selecting real weddings. It's a complete puzzle. There's so many different things you have to think about when you're putting them in the magazine. You have a limited amount to choose from to print, yet you have hundreds to choose from. But how do you choose which ones fit? And you have to think about regions, especially in California. You don't want to have all Los Angeles. You need to have Orange County. We want to have San Diego. We want to have Palm Springs, Northern California, Napa, vineyard wedding, beach, ocean, mountain. Like, trying to get all those things in, as well as showing diversity in religion, diversity in everything.
Exactly.
And that's a tricky part, is really finding how to bring that together and still make it something that people want to read, but it also has meaning and value. I think that's something that's really important to us.
So speaking of what we publish, like, how do we go about that process? How do you go about that process of selecting what you want to publish?
I mean, I look at every single submission we get, and I look at them. Usually I start looking at them about a week before our deadline. I don't like to look at them too early. It's sort of like Christmas. Like, I get to unwrap them all and see what's happening. But the strongest submissions are thorough. They have a link to their wedding images, preferably curated, that we don't have to dig through a huge, every single one of the wedding images, because again, we're looking at 200 to 300 weddings, so we don't always have time.
Top 20?
Top 40.
Top 40?
We want to see the couple. We want to see the bridal party. We want to see all the details, the flowers, the bouquet, the stationery, the dinner, the ceremony, the reception, the cake, we want
All
to
the
get,
details.
we want to see all the details, but we also don't need 42 pictures of the bouquet, even though it's stunning.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though, and if we don't have something we want, like if we see a picture of an invitation suite that we love, but we want a different angle, we'll ask for more. But it can be challenging when we get these huge 400 weddings to images.
And when you get those images and you're wowed, you will email them and be like, I need to see more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're like, you're giving good teasers. I want to see more.
It's also really hugely important that you include vendor credits. So many people do not do that. They just will send in their wedding, but I need to know where it's at. Because again, we want to have diversity and variety. I don't want to have 4 weddings at the Four Seasons Los Angeles or 3 weddings at Cielo. We want to show a lot of different venues and a lot of different ways that you can tie the knot in California.
Yeah, with all the 7 brands, there's always like a hub, right? There's always a popular area in each region. And so we always say we are the state, we are the local content. So we're always like in Minnesota, we need some Duluth weddings, we need some Brainerd, we need Red Wing to show all
Rochester?
Rochester.
Do we need Rochester?
You know what? Rochester is our feature this issue. We have a gorgeous feature in Minnesota Bride that is at Rochester at the Mayowood Stone Barn.
Yep, Mayowood.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, but we think about that, then we're like, what have we just published? What regions did we just publish? What style shoot locations did we just publish? What kind of venues did we just use?
Where did we shoot fashion?
It's just all taking those puzzle pieces to make sure we spread the love everywhere the best we possibly can. Again, can't make everybody happy, but we sure dang try.
Try really hard. I do. But I mean, sometimes you'll fall in love with a shoot and I'm so in love with it or so in love with a wedding, and I'll just be like, I don't care that we already have a wedding at the Whim. I have to publish this one. Like, we're just going to have 2 because these are both magic.
Yeah. And
So sometimes it happens, but
and sometimes the common thing is the location, but the whole completely different vendor team behind it, the Wedding Pro team, is all different.
and
So
that's
it
another
makes
thing
it-
that we try to vary. We want to vary the vendors that we show in the magazine. As much as possible, we like to show a wide range of people, again, from different regions, because people are reading the magazine all over. So we don't want to just show what the vendors are doing in, say, Los Angeles. We also want to show the other regions and those vendors.
So we talked a little bit about fashion with Jessie.
Yes.
So how do you come up with your concepts?
That's such a fun question. I don't know. I think sometimes something will I'll see a dress. Maybe it's on Instagram. Maybe it's from Fashion Week, and I'll become super obsessed with it. And there was one that we did at Zachari Dunes, and it was this sheer dress by Catherine Tash. And I was just like, I don't know what we're doing, but we're shooting this dress. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes there's a location that I want to shoot at. So I'll think about, like when we shot at the Landmark for Minnesota Bride, immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, this needs to be elegant, maybe a little bit, bringing a little bit of that old world feel into it, but still modernizing it. So I think there's a lot of different things that play into that. And I like that part of it a lot. It's my favorite.
It is your favorite.
I know it is. It is. It fills my bucket, to quote Sonia.
It fills my bucket, and it fills my bucket when it turns out perfect. But that's where you and Jessie are such a great team, because you really make the concept come to life, and then it really transfers to print. Which
And
is awesome.
we play off of each other so much. I think I called her and was like, I'm obsessed with bows. And, then she can take my idea and mold it. So it's kind of like we go back and forth. Like sometimes she'll have an idea and I'll be the one that does it. And sometimes it's just the two of us kind of just bringing it together. And sometimes you get to a shoot and the dresses they bring, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're doing something completely different here. Something else happened.
There's weather too, can always play a curveball as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just like my crazy idea to do it at the Twins baseball stadium.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what Lara walked into, but she made it so magical. It was perfect.
It was the biggest rainstorm you guys had in I don't know how many years, and we're at the stadium.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
It was joyful.
It was joyful. It was
But it turned out great. I saw the.
We were actually standing on chairs with umbrellas over the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it's just this glamorous thing? No, we're getting toasty by doing all the things to pull off that shot,
Yeah.
which you know.
I do know. I
Yeah.
do. I've done some of those shoots.
Yep.
Yeah.
We actually, last year, I think every shoot we did was in the rain. whether it was California, whether it was Washington,
Yes.
whether it was Minnesota, every single one of them we got rained on. So by the time I got
And
to
you would
Minnesota, I
never
was
know.
like, bring it, bring it.
You've seen it all.
Yeah, I was like, I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I see the photos when I'm proofing the magazine, I don't know it rained. That's how good Laura and Jesse made that magic happen with the wedding professionals that you guys were working with.
Yeah,
each
I mean,
time.
it's everybody who's on set, everyone that's on set. The one that we did at Washington Wedding Day, it was a tabletop shoot, and
It
it's
was
pouring down rain,
gorgeous.
and it had to be outside, and we had everything ready to go. We're like watching. We knew we had a pocket for maybe 25 minutes. The sun came out, and it was like, whew. I've never seen a table put together that fast, ever.
And this table deserved its shot. It was
Stunning.
unbelievable.
It was Sassy Fly.
Yeah, sassy.
And her team.
It was a dripping of orchids down the table as a table runner,
Yeah,
and it was just. I'd never
Just
seen
gorgeous.
it. It was just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it was gorgeous, and they had all of that down and on the table in, I think it was like 6 minutes. It was unbelievable. I mean, literally, everyone was standing there with like the plates and.
And knowing Sassy, she goes big or goes home.
Yep, yep.
Well, with a name like Sassy Fly, I mean,
Oh, you'll meet her. Oh, you'll meet her.
That is her in a nutshell.
And she's saying hi right now as she's
Yeah.
hearing this.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a lot about print and like being published in the magazine, but a lot of what we do in the magazine transfers to digital, right?
Everything we do in the magazine also goes online on our website and social media. But in addition to that, that's where we can really play even more. And we can really, immediately get things out there, things that are really on trend in this moment and happening. And so that's a really fun part of it, getting all the trends on social media and sharing them. It's just another level that you can inspire future couples.
Right. And we have the team. We have staff editorial team that are daily for social media and the website. So we can weekly update what are new things that they're paying attention to. And of course, they approve them by Laura, be like, yep, legit, go run it.
It's really great
Fly.
because social media especially is definitely one of our places where we get a lot of our creativity, a lot of our ideas. We might see just this single shot and be like, I need to see the rest of this shoot. I need to see this. And, maybe it's something that ends up in the magazine. Maybe it's something that we're just so excited about it. We want to share it right away and get it up on our websites and bring it to the world that way.
And we love keep tagging us because that brings our attention to it. Don't think we're ignoring it. No, we're actually looking at the tags.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, got a little message in my inbox. What's this all about?
yeah.
What upcoming trends are you noticing for the upcoming season? Like, what are you scheming up for
I
the
mean,
next
I mentioned
issues?
it before, you're going to see a lot of bows. Bows are really big right now, whether it's accessories, where it's just a little touch on your dress. Draping. Draping is really big right now.
Really?
Yeah, really big. And it's not your typical draping. It's not just, it's, layers, it's colors, it's creating these really romantic and ethereal backdrops as a ceremony. Maybe within your tabletop or the head table, and they're just really just
flow.
Breezy.
yes, they're just really romantic, and there's so many different ways they're being done, and it's just really fun when you get to see that new thing. And what I love about being editorial director is seeing it across the board, seeing what's happening in California, what's happening in Washington, what's happening in Minnesota, what's happening in Nebraska, Wisconsin. It's just really fun to see how all those different ideas are different yet similar, and that's one of my favorite things about.
Yeah, we're kind of letting all connecting the dots of what's going on in Minnesota and California, and making sure that we're hey guys, this is unfolding everywhere.
We
Keeping
kind of
us
get the
all in trends.
opportunity, I think, to really see the trends, really set them.
Set them, be the leader.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the goal.
So back in the day, it used to be, and I say before social media, it used to be things would happen in California before they would happen, and then they would trickle
Yes.
up to the Midwest.
Yeah,
Definitely.
6 months later, because
Right.
we're
Yeah.
so behind.
Right, but now with social media, is it still the case? Do things still begin in California
Well-
and then make their way north, or is it a much faster
Laura and I
expansion
actually
now?
have chatted about this quite a bit.
So I think, one of the things about California is produces the most weddings out of any state. we have year-round weather. So I think that is one of the reasons why so many ideas are born here, as well as just the industry, because that's such a creative, and when I say the industry, I mean like Hollywood, movies,
And
film.
there's just some really creative souls here.
It's just really creative people come here, but it is so much faster. Like I would say, I feel like I noticed lavender, for example. And, it was in like 3 or 4 of the styled shoots that I was submitted in California. So then I went to Minnesota and I'm like, we're going to do a lavender shoot. So it's kind of fun to do that.
Yeah.
And the great thing is when I'm talking to the florist, she's like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to do that. I'm loving lavender right now. And it just kind of like, it's sort of like a seed. It kind of just like gets planted and then it just goes everywhere.
That's kind of what we do for Best Of with our annual event. We like to set the tone of what's coming in for the next season too, like maximalism.
Yeah.
And bright colors to be like, this is how you do it. And then invite planners to help design it and execute it.
And that is one note I do want to make is I think the last couple years, everything has been very simplistic. We've seen a lot of white weddings, all the neutral tones playing off of each other. Maybe blush trickles in a really subtle way. Color is back.
Color is very back.
Color is so back, and big florals and big statements are back, which I love.
Yes.
So it makes me happy. Lots of oranges, blues.
Well, there's so much more you can do with that than
Yeah.
just white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, white will always be classic.
Right.
There are always going to be white weddings. There's always going to be blush and pink weddings, but all these bright, colorful weddings just,
And we love printing them,
I
publishing
love.
them.
They're so pretty in print.
They
Well,
pop.
everything is.
Yeah, they pop off the pages for sure.
They
Yeah.
do.
And attendees too are like, wow. Like they're wowed by color as well. They're like, oh, this switches it up. We got a little more pep in my step. Color gives energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it does. But
So-
I'm loving that.
Final question.
Okay.
How do I get published? How can I be in any of these magazines? I'm a bride and I want to be published. Like that's my goal. How can I be published, Lara?
We have a form on our website. You can go to all the websites. You can download the form, which basically step by step tells you exactly what you need to do, all the information we need. There's about 5 questions to answer. It's about, your wedding, who you are as a couple, where you got married, and I really love to hear about the unique details. I love for you to point out what made your wedding different. Why should we publish your wedding? What is unique about it? What did you do that's different? Is it the story of how you met? Is it a really incredible escort card station you did? Did you have a really cool theme inspired by your relationship or where you traveled? And I think one of the things is we see a lot of those weddings. So when people make it different, they make it new and they make it fresh and they make it their own. I think that that's what I love the most, is seeing those weddings where who they are as a couple, as a person, as an individual shines through. I think those really print on page really well.
And of course, and tell your wedding professionals that you want to be published.
That is really key.
Yeah, like your wedding planner, and just knowing that's your goal. Like we have had a couple planners tell us that their goal is to be published in Minnesota Bride or Nebraska Wedding Day. So
then do you help the planner? Or are you like, okay, well maybe if you can have this done, or you can have guide them more,
because we
or
can't guarantee it, right? Because again,
right, but you can
you just don't know
suggest
if they'll-
things that maybe you
I've
haven't had recently in the magazine. You could say, well, maybe we're looking for more lavender.
I mean, definitely I've had people ask me or come to me and say, oh, we're planning a wedding and we're, looking at doing it, it's going to be greens and velvets and et cetera. And I always, texture is really great that just made me go
Yes.
into the...
We talked about mediums with Kristen Banta.
Yeah, that's something, knowing it, I might say like, oh, we've seen a lot of that. So maybe instead of having, I don't know, gold silverware, maybe something different, something that brings a uniqueness to it. Or, I mean, that's not the best example I've come up with, but you know what I'm saying.
yes.
Just something that gives a little playful twist on it. Does whimsical, playful, whatever
Just like
it is.
when the cherries started popping up on the cakes. That was
Exactly.
very exciting for us.
I know the Lambeth cakes. I love them.
love them
They're
too.
Victorian style cakes. They're heavy in the overpiping, and it's nice to see people getting away from the really heavy fondant cakes. But yeah, I think it's really important that they're really sharing who they are, what makes their wedding unique and special, including all your vendors. That's really key. And most important, you need to make sure that your vendors know you're submitting it or have your vendors submit it. And the two most important are definitely the wedding planner and the photographer. Obviously, because the photographer needs to give us permission in order for us to publish their images.
Exactly.
So it's very important that, you know, your key vendors know.
And work with them to make sure that they're telling the story correctly how you want it to be communicated in print or digitally as well. Because it may not cut it for print, but that doesn't mean we may not feature it digitally.
I do think it's important for the planners to be involved in the submission, because they are able to bring some of the, you know, what they did to make that wedding special. And our submissions are considered for everywhere. It's not just for print, it's also for online. Those two are just an equal, you know, where it fits best. Is it something that's so on trend in this moment we just want to put it up?
Yeah, we've done that.
We're just like, I'm in
Where
love
it
with
can't
this.
wait for the print release.
Yeah, I'm just
Right.
so excited about it. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, I love this so much. I want to share it now. So that's definitely, you know, a great thing about it. There's so many different mediums to share.
Well, awesome. Well, Laura, thank you for coming in today.
You're the
I'm
best.
just excited everybody to get to know you more, and they will definitely, as we hang out together, they're gonna get to know you more, and maybe have you back on the podcast too.
I would love that.
Yeah. So, but thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.